you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm sorry I'm late. That last interview went over a bit. We talked a bit too long.
No worries.
How
Well,
are you?
pretty good, pretty good. Thank you so much for taking the time. I'm
My
Brande.
pleasure. Look at your glorious eyelashes. Look at you. Oh my God, they're
Thank
gorgeous. They're
you.
gorgeous.
Thank you. So I'm Brande Victorian. I'm the content director for Madame Noir and Hello Beautiful. Hey. So, I really would love to just start just asking how you've been holding up. We're in month four, of quarantine, and then also, a civil rights uprising happening across, the nation. How has your spirit, been during this time?
I'm all right. I'm finding my way. It was really intense for a little bit there. It was funny that first weekend around George Floyd. I think at first I was just heartbroken. Then I was in sort of a state of anguish for a long time, honestly.
Yeah.
Sorry I had seen that footage. It really was traumatic. And then I sort of shifted into, and then I left my body for a bit. I just feel like it was funny because I finally, can't remember, maybe it was 2 weeks later, I worked out and I was like, oh, this is why I haven't been in here, because it's uncomfortable in here. Like I was like, it's a lot to feel.
Yeah.
And so just being really gentle with myself, I found that the most comforting thing was getting informed and leaning towards those that actually that this is their life's work.
Yeah.
Patrice Cullors and Brittany Packnett, Cunningham, both of them truly for me, they were a tonic for me, both in gaining language and information and knowledge, and knowing that there is an actual movement that is in place that is supporting this uprising, that it is not just the uprising, that there is actually a structure of movement in place, that there were, I was frustrated with, not that I watch news at all, but that the news wasn't covering the protests and the uprising for me in an educated way, and that they continued to not name the demands.
Yes.
And that really frustrated me. I felt like, I know this is a long answer, I apologize.
No, it's perfect.
Okay. I felt like, and then I feel like I want to ask you the same question if you don't mind. Okay. But, so I felt like for a minute there, I couldn't find my feet, and I didn't, that was the only way I knew how to express it. Cause I felt like I was back in my body, and so I felt like, and then I understood what I meant by that. I felt like there was such a foundational shift occurring, that it made sense that my feet felt wobbly, because the structure and the system that we know, whether we liked it or not, that was something that we were used to, was really shifting. I mean, even the specificity of saying defund the police, even that in and of itself, that language, purposefully to be agitational, it agitates a structure we live in. And it made me feel wobbly. I just posted a grounding video of some of the exercises that I've been doing to sort of anchor my feet again. And then I was talking to my sister yesterday, and we were saying how, to a certain extent, things have, it's not that life has totally kicked back up. We're still in a pandemic. All of these things are still occurring, but there's now, like, this is what it is, right? So it's not like so new. It's been 4 or 5 months now, you know what I mean? Exactly. So I was like, I know where my feet are, but my legs feel like sea legs, like a little wobbly, like I'm not totally, so just really still finding my way. How about you?
I feel the same way. I actually wrote about, at the time George Floyd died, I had lost 3 family members within like 6 weeks.
I'm so
sorry. So thank you. So his death happened, and I was just like, man, I don't feel like I have any fight, in me. But then I'm working for these publications. We have to say something. We have to do something, So just like you said, I was out of it for a couple weeks, and then I ended up going to a protest and doing that, and just finding a way to be a part of it, and not feeling that guilt too, because you're like, I want to be on the front lines, but everyone doesn't have to do that, to kind of be a part and move forward. So, same with you, of just figuring out, the navigation.
Like how to navigate it and where you are in it, and
Yeah.
where's the right action for you. What is honoring yourself, but also feeling like it's
so
a lot.
Much. Yeah, exactly. It's so much
much
adjustment in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Well, but I'm hopeful that at least the high note hopefully was a high point, for you during the pandemic. And I know it was significant of just, sharing your voice literally during the film. You talked about working with vocal coach and watching performers. Which performers did you watch, and who did you find yourself wanting to infuse?
Well, so it was really interesting. I don't have a ton of experience as a singer at all, right? I'd never been in the recording studio, like all those kinds of things. So I started with one vocal coach, and I ended up switching to another because she was all about technique and making me sound a certain way. And I wasn't interested in that. I wanted my truth to come out, right?
Yeah.
So I went back to an old friend of mine, Tamara, and really her technique as a vocal coach is about allowing the truth to come forward, like getting out of your way. It was great. It was just it was like learning another aspect of what I already do in my career and how I create my art. Wait, I forgot your question.
About performers. I think you watched.
Thank you. Wow. I'm gonna blame it on the pandemic. How about that?
Exactly.
So really, for me, the acting part of it was like the most glorious, delicious thing, right? But there were two pieces of Grace Davis that it was the singing, and then it was her ease on stage, right? I felt like I'm really comfortable on stage, but Grace Davis, when I host, I can hide behind comedy. Yeah. Grace Davis doesn't hide behind nothing on stage. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Grace Davis is almost more at home on stage than she is in her own skin. You know?
Yeah.
So I didn't know how to find that. And what I did was look at all of these different kinds of performers that use a microphone, because Janet usually uses a Jackson mic, but like, I know how my mom holds a mic, but I felt like the relationship to the microphone was part of what was going to be new for me.
Yeah.
And so I watched everyone from Celine Dion to Whitney Houston to Madonna. She uses this more. To Rihanna, like Rihanna's performance at the Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Oh, yes.
That's a really good one, right? Because she is just completely, first of all, she's not even in her element.
Exactly.
And she's holding that space, right?
Yep. Yep.
So that was really interesting to me, because I'm like, Tracee is not in her element, but she's going to have to pretend she's in her element.
Yeah.
And so how do you do that seamlessly? Who else did I watch? Oh, Mariah Carey and Ariana Grande. And the thing that was fascinating to me, I have always found it, it's tickled me like it tickles everybody. That thing they do on the microphone.
Yes.
And Mariah's finger.
Always.
Right?
Yes.
So I've always been like, seriously, what is that? Let me tell you something. When I was in the studio, I realized Rodney was like, Tracee, every time you point, some different kind of sound comes out of you. And I was like, no way. He's like, swear. He's like, whenever you hit your chest, something special comes out of you. And I was like, oh my God. I have my version of Celine Dion and Ariana Grande and everyone. I was like, I don't know what it is, but there's some sort of emotional connection that happens in these places. And I was like, oh my God. So those were some of the things that were fun to discover and look for. But I wasn't trying to, it wasn't a biopic, so I wasn't trying to emulate any one person. Yeah. It was really that I was looking for a way in these areas that I don't have tons of experience with.
Yeah. And how did you push back? You talked about a little nervousness of, putting your voice out. How did you push past that fear?
Listen to me, Brande, you said nervousness. I was terrified. It was a monster. It was a smoke and mirror monster, but you couldn't have told me that. And I'm lucky because I don't know if I'm lucky, but one of the things that I've learned about myself is I'm somebody who doesn't get scared while I'm doing something. It's always after. I don't get scared before. I don't get scared during. I get scared after.
Okay.
So I've used this metaphor before. Like, I have this tendency to run off the cliff. Just I want to do it, go. So I run off the cliff and then I get to the bottom and I'm like, what did I just do? And I get cold sweats of shame and fear and the whole deal. And, you know, I discovered as an adult, I'm like, there's elevators, there's bridges, there's ladders, there's stairs. Like there's so many ways down that you don't have to do it that way. But I'm like, I can fly.
Okay.
So, yeah. Anyway, I was very terrified. Yeah. And I think some of it was I've always wanted to sing. Some of it was I don't know when I decided to put that on the back burner, if it was conscious or unconscious, but knowing the possibility of great comparison to my mother. We live in cancel culture. I'm not a dummy. I was like, they gonna take me out. Girl, stay on the screen. What you do? Like, stop. And, you know, but what I discovered on the other side was that I got to walk through a fear towards a dream. And what I got on the other side was unbridled freedom. Mm-hmm. This sense that like something can feel irrationally that scary. Yeah. And you can still walk through, you know, that it wasn't about the absence of fear. It was about doing it anyway.
Man. So that makes me think about like a project that I work on. It's called Be.Enough. And it's just based on the idea that, you know, you're constantly questioning whether you're good enough as you try new things and experiences. And so I always ask people, like, can you remember a time, either the first time or just a time when you got the message that you weren't enough, or someone told you you weren't, you know, good enough for something? And how
much time do you have?
You know, as much time as you have. Like,
and it was so cute because even you said, you know, has there ever been a time when you were trying something new and you didn't feel like enough? I was like, even when I'm not trying anything, that comes up.
Like, yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that it wells up. And I have to tell you, of course it does in the world we live in. As a Black woman, as a 47-year-old woman, as a single woman, as a woman with hips, as a woman with lips, as a woman with brown skin, as a woman with my hair texture, whatever that is, as a woman with big eyes, as a woman with a big heart, as a woman who feels big, as an individual, as a unique individual, as all of us are, we are living in a world that is more receiving and receptive of our humanity and our uniqueness and our Blackness and our womanness and all of those things. But that's not what's all over the place. That's not like the messaging that's just like, listen, what I want you to do is just grow up and just be as much of you as you can be. Just be, and everything that you are is perfect. Anything you're feeling. As a matter of fact, the things that you're feeling that feel different from everybody else are actually your superpower. They're what make you unique and special and extra special. But no, that's not what we grow up with.
Not at all.
Fit in a box. And if you don't, then you have to experience this shame as if, you know, you are other. You know, I don't know if you watched Disclosure.
Yes. Oh. Amazing. I know. That was incredible.
It was incredible. It was incredible for so many different reasons, right?
Yeah.
But the thing that blew my mind is, first of all, this is a documentary where people are telling their own story.
Yes.
So their narrative wasn't even translated through the documentarian or whatever that was. Yes. They are narrating their story.
Yes.
So that to me was the most like underlying impactful thing. Yeah. I also could not believe how so many of the images and things that I have watched my whole life, that I didn't put those dots together of what that messaging was.
Exactly.
And that really hurt my heart. Mm-hmm. You know, and I was so grateful for somebody to tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, look, you know. Yep. The other thing was there was one moment in there, I mean, I just burst out crying. Mm-hmm. The guy was telling the story. They were in the circle, sort of in a support group. And one of the parents was talking to the other parents about his child and how this experience of his transness, I mean, I don't know it specifically and I don't want to hack it up, but that he was, that was what made him so special.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, how much do we wish this was on the wallpaper of our lives?
Exactly.
That for even me to hear that, even you, and that specific experience is not mine.
Right.
But that makes my heart just open, you know, not only for myself, but for others.
Exactly.
for my fellow human beings,
Exactly.
you know? And so, you ask for a specific story. I mean, it's like every other day. Sometimes it's in my own imagination that I create a dialogue that is squashing and belittling of me, is harsh and rude, whether it's about my body or about a choice I made, or, you know, I say this all the time and I mean it, and I think most people too. I don't know about you. I wake up every day trying to do my best.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't wake up and go, I'm gonna fuck this shit up today.
Right.
Know what I mean? Like today, this gonna be one of those. I'm just like, ah! You know what I mean? Like I've never done that. I've never walked into a conversation and been like, I'm gonna mess this up. That's my goal. No. And even with the best intentions, sometimes the conversation goes left.
Quick.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Quick.
Yep.
So, you know, and I always say, like, the hardest part of my life is my humanity.
That sounds right.
I mean, like meeting myself where I am, and the challenge of in that in-between space, how do we create that whole container to hold the shame, the pain, the discomfort, the joy, the love, all of it. Like, how do you get to hold the whole thing and not walk towards a space of perfection, but where it's not only about being enough, but just being yourself. I mean, as I say, as I've gotten older, I mean, it took me years to discover who I was, and then years to have the courage to be that person.
Yes.
I mean, and that still is like a daily, hourly, minutely reprieve, you know what I mean? To actually say, oh, no, I don't really want to do that. Or as much as I want to do that, I can't, because this is the direction I'm going, or, you know, whatever that is. So yeah, I mean, if I could think of a particular, I mean, I have so many, but the one that just popped into my head, I remember I was in New York acting. I hadn't moved out here yet. I hadn't done Lyricist Lounge Girlfriends. None of that had happened. And I had agents that I had gotten through like circuitous channels of auditioning for a commercial, through modeling, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I'd gone on tons of auditions. I mean, I had like a big ass 3-ring binder of like every audition I'd gone on. I hadn't booked a thing. It was hard. And at the time it was really hard for me because I couldn't figure out how to get the Tracee that I was at home in my room into public spaces. I couldn't figure out, I would get so nervous that I would just shut down, and I knew it was in me. I was so afraid I couldn't get it out. And so my agent, she brought me in and she was like, we are going to drop you. You come with all of this shine and sparkle. And then when you get in the room, you don't pop.
Oh my goodness.
That's what she said to me.
Oh my goodness.
And let me tell you, I held that you don't pop for so many years. So many years. I couldn't get out of that office. The tears, like she couldn't even finish her sentence. And it was those crocodile tears. By the way, do crocodiles cheer really big tears? I've never understood that.
I don't know either. I never thought about that.
Strange. Anyway, I'm like, is that offensive to crocodiles?
Right. Don't get canceled.
Right? Crocodiles be coming out forward. They're like, Tracee.
Right.
Like, tell me what I did. I want to know. I want to know. Because I can't know everything. Okay, anyway. So I couldn't get out of there fast enough. And I remember calling my sister when I got home, and I was like, I don't think I can do this.
Yeah.
I don't think I have thick enough skin to be in a career where people get to tell me who I am and who I'm not every day.
Yeah.
And make a choice about it. And she said, maybe you can't. You know, that's up to you. That's like really your choice. And I cried for a good 3 days. And then I remember making a choice, and I moved to LA after that. And I remember making a choice that I was going to do this as long as it was fun.
Okay.
And that meant I had to make a choice about how for it to be fun.
Yeah.
And I slowly crept my way out of my room,
wow,
out of the shell of my body, and allowed Tracee to come forward and to let the creativity that was in there and whatever. But like, yeah, that wounded me for years. And whenever any rejection came up, that's the tape that would play.
Mm-hmm.
She told you, you have all this exciting stuff, but you're nothing.
Yeah.
You don't pop.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Man, I know I'm like stuck on that myself. And thinking about you also talking about just like at 47 that you feel the hottest you've ever felt. And you love getting older. You know, what did it take to get there? Although I feel like you shared some of that, but like, are there things you said to yourself, or was there just a moment where you're like, you know what? I'm good. Okay.
Nah. No, it's every other day. You know, yes, I love getting older. I love the whole picture of it. Yeah. But in moments, it's terrifying.
Right, exactly.
Okay? My skin is different. It's different. All right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just different, you know? Lighting becomes everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just like getting wiser.
Yes.
I like getting more comfortable in my skin.
Mm-hmm.
I like caring less what people's opinion of me is.
Yeah.
I've always been that kind of person, but I also, you know, this is a really funny and odd story, but when I was younger, I used to love, so you see when I look down how I have this, what I now know people call bags, right?
Yes.
Circles under my eyes.
Yeah.
When I was young, I saw women with that, and I literally thought it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen.
Wow.
I was like, how do I get those?
Oh my goodness.
I thought they were a sign of maturity and womanhood, and I just was like, they're incredible. Now I have them, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it. But I don't use under eye concealer. Makeup artists often put it underneath. But okay. I personally, I love all the different places and spaces in my face.
Yeah.
And I feel like they are badges of honor for the life I've lived.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, you know, the laugh line, because God, I laugh a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's, you know, talking to you, it's easy to identify with what I love about it. Yeah. In the privacy and intimacy of my home and my mind. It's not always that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'll tell you many of the tools, like it is not one day it popped. I have an extensive, very full toolbox that spans all different modalities and genres. You know, I have a tribe of lovingly gathered friends that I genuinely share myself with, and that share themselves with me, that love me when I can't love myself, mirror back truths when I can't see it, can see bigger pictures, know the history of who I am, are just as charmed and sometimes more charmed by the Tracee-ness of me than I am.
Yeah.
And that helps, you know, that really helps.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that even just speaks to how we're taught not to like certain things. You know, your perception of bags before someone told you they weren't good. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, goodness. So switching in with pattern, I'm thinking with congrats also on phase 2 of the launch. And I saw you call it an evolution of Wash Day with these new products. So can you talk about the stylers a little bit and what they add to the collection?
Absolutely. I feel like the leave-in conditioner is the bridge. It's the like connector. And then you go from there and you kind of move up in the amount of hold you can have. Okay. And so I feel like we moved from the shower to the mirror.
Okay. Yes.
And it's like, now it's time to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, you know, we as a community, this vast and elaborate and stunning and timeless and global community that are the curly, coily, and tight textures, right? Yeah. And by the way, I say this, you know, all of our customers are not Black women, but pattern is centered around Black beauty. Yeah. And I also don't think that hair has gender. So these products are for men, women, non-binary, binary, anyone who has curly, coily, and tight textures. This is your family. But our imagery is centered around Black beauty, authentic Black beauty in this vast and extraordinary community. And within this community, I mean, the magic and art and creativity that we have discovered with our glorious hair that grows out of our head. You need the tools to do it.
Right.
Not me?
Yeah.
So, but what I really wanted to do was create all of these products that were also good for your hair, that didn't break your edges. I mean, our edges are so delicate that even if you're going to baby hair them or make sure they're snatched back, that you're not going to use a product that's going to make your hair so brittle that that most tender space is going to break. That if you're in transition and you're trying to lay that part down that's growing out, that it's not going to mess with that very tender space where those two bits of hair are connecting. Yeah. That if you're going to use a stronghold gel, that it's going to get you slicked, but it's also not going to crack and break your hair. So we have the curl gel, which, and by the way, the other thing, all of the styling products are silicone free. There are good silicones and bad silicones. It would be nice if everything could be silicone free. We're walking in that direction. It's not always easy because of the slip that we need for our hair. So I've been working on that a lot, but with the styling products, absolutely. And we filled them with nutrients and ingredients like sea moss and things that really are flaxseed, like things that are just so good for the hair. Flaxseed? Yeah. Anyway, so we start with and they all can mix together. You know how when you mix products, how they get pilly?
Yep.
It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Because we all cocktail, we all know how we like our hair to feel, so I want them all to be able to mix. Okay. So we go from the curl gel, which is great for a wash and go, can also be used for a twist out or any of that. It's got a nice, gentle amount of hold, more than the leave-in. Then there's the hydrating mist.
Okay.
Which is to revive your hair. It's got just a teeny bit of hold, but it's all about hydration for day 2, day 3, if you want to move on. Also, if your hair's braided and you want to get a little moisture because they're starting to get a little dry on the top, you can put that in there. Then there is the styling cream, which is really buttery and creamy. And great for Bantu knots, any of that. I use it personally on my hair when I'm mixing it in with other hair. So that I can get my hair to really lay down and sort of move in, and it keeps that nice shine on your hair with some hold, but it's got that buttery, creamy texture. Then there's a stronghold gel, which I'm obsessed with.
That would be
it's filled with sea moss. I personally love it on my baby hairs, my grown woman hairs that I turn into baby hairs. That's my favorite one. And then after that, and so that sort of creates, and also I use it for the wet look, like all of that kind of thing, but it's also filled with sea moss and good for your hair, and doesn't flake.
Oh, good. Yes. That's it.
And then the edge control, which is an edge control.
Yeah.
And then there is now a clarifying shampoo, which will help you to really cleanse your scalp and pull that residue and build up off your hair without drying it out. Your hair still feels really good, still gentle. And then the new tools, the pick, the wide tooth comb, and the edge tool.
Okay, good. And so how has it been for you maintaining your hair at home? Or are you low maintenance, or have you been like, I need to be in the salon?
I'm low maintenance. But it's been fun for me. I've learned how to do Bantu knots myself. Wow. I've always been really good at parting my hair. So that's really fun. I keep trying to do some of the things that I'm not great at, but Bantu knots I feel really successful at. Today I've got 3.
Oh yeah.
Down the back, down the center. I have colored my hair myself during this pandemic. It's growing out again, whatever. I painted my nails.
Yeah, you
I've been giving myself manicure pedicures. I tried waxing myself. That was a bit of a disaster.
I applaud your bravery, because I would be.
I wouldn't suggest that. And I did my mustache, and
Okay.
the next day it was like covered in bumps.
Oh no.
I tried though. I tried.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I tried other areas too. I just wouldn't suggest. I mean, it was really intense.
Rough, right?
Really intense. And it was,
I love on the pattern website that you share like your pattern story. I think with you hearing like stopping perming at 15 and with girlfriends being one of the first, natural women out there. And, I was reading that and I thought about how much Black women love your hair and like just went crazy over your hair. But then that you for so long had been told like it should look a different way. Was it kind of like mind blowing to you when people just were like, hair curls, I want Tracee Ellis Ross curls, I want her hair? Like, shocked? Did it blow you? Okay. Yeah. I was like,
well, also you have to remember that like when I was on Girlfriends, there was no social media.
Yeah.
And one interaction I went to Essence Fest during Girlfriends, and I remember someone walking up to me and saying, "Girl, you're on TV, get your hair done."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "Put some heat on your hair. Why do you have to look like that on television?" And I was like, "This is the way it grew out of my head."
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
But I mean, that was the small interaction I had. It wasn't till sort of towards the end of Girlfriends that I started to realize that people were connecting with my hair. It was the way I wore my hair. And honestly, it started for me, I know you know from my story, like I was an athlete. I swam, I ran. Yeah. It was too hard to keep up with the blowout. And when we moved to Europe when I was a kid, going to school there, I couldn't go to the salon and get relaxers and texturizers. I couldn't go do that. So I just started to grow my hair out. It wasn't like on purpose. There was no thing as the big chop, like all that. I didn't know what that was. My sister did the big chop.
Okay.
And she started dreading her hair.
Okay.
A little bit later than that, right at the beginning of college, I think. But so for me, I think the thing that was hard for me, I remember seeing a meme, I don't know if you remember this, and I started the hashtag hair love because of it. Yeah. But there was a meme going around with this little girl crying as she's looking at the shower and saying that moment that you realize you don't have Tracee Ellis Ross's hair. Mm-hmm. And everyone thought it was funny. It like really broke my heart for a couple of reasons, because I know what it was like for me wanting to have somebody else's hair. Mm-hmm. And how it sent me down such a road of self-hatred, of shame, of beating my hair into submission, of like frying and like ironing my hair, like just like everything that I was doing to my hair. And then it wouldn't do anything. It was just so damaged. Yeah. And the rebirth of my hair, like the when I started to get to know my hair and nurse it back to health, you could chronicle my journey of self-acceptance through that. Mm-hmm. And the fact that anything about me would make somebody feel not good about themselves was really upsetting to me. Yeah. And this is what I say to that in general. If looking at me makes you feel bad, look away. Mm. Look away. If looking at me helps to inspire you to find what makes you feel juicy and joyful, what makes you find the unique beauty of your own self, then let's have a party. Yeah. Yeah. But I personally know that there's people I look away from. I am conscious of who I follow on Instagram or who I mute or whatever, because if it makes me feel bad, why am I looking there? Yes. I remember learning that a long time ago. Like, and I would look, and by the way, don't look if it's going to hurt you or create a wound, and then look back when you can look back and ask yourself, what is it? What is it exactly here that is snagging me? Is it that I want that? Is it the freedom that person has? Is it their actual hair? Like if I'm jealous if I can't look at Naomi because I want her legs, like I'm not going to have her legs. Mm-hmm. But how can I love the legs I have?
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Well, last, I just want to ask, what's next for you with pattern, with movies, TV, everything? What's
well, hopefully we'll be
relaxation, right? Yeah,
we'll go back to work at some point. I have some wonderful projects I'm executive producing that I'm really excited about. Obviously, Jody, I hope that's moving and in process. Mixedish, Blackish. And there's other things that are brewing and happening that are exciting. And I've been able to use my pandemic time very busily.
Good.
But what is next? I'm going to figure out what I'm going to make for dinner, decide what I should pull out of the freezer to defrost for tomorrow's meal.
Okay.
Yeah, that's for the, I think I have a couple more things today. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This has, man, been just like a blessing to have this conversation with you. I really appreciate it.
Really wonderful talking to you too. I appreciate it. And I'm glad that you are finding your way and hanging in there and able to use your platform and where you're at in your life and career to continue shining light in such good places.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Care. All
Take
right.
care. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
You too.